apples, like apple pie filling, like I've got up here, and I wanna do it, I wanna pick the apples or go purchase the apples from the farmer's market. Can I do that in April or March? No. Very good. You cannot. You preserve food, um, seasonally, as it comes off. You know, you've got things that come off in the early spring and late spring. You've got things that come off early summer, late summer. Harvest, a lot of harvest stuff, your fruits and stuff come off in the fall. So it's like, you've got a long preservation year, you know, if you're wanting to can all sorts of stuff. How do you know what to can or what to preserve? Right now, you decide you're gonna preserve some food. How do you know what to preserve?
So you want to preserve what you're going to eat,
Right.
otherwise you're just wasting materials and your time.
Yeah. So don't get excited like I did a little bit when I first started preserving and want to preserve all sorts of stuff. I want to preserve big bunches of it because you will burn yourself out, right? I, I don't like okra, okay, to be honest. My husband loves okra. So I have to get over the fact that I don't like okra and go find me a farmer's market that sells okra. So I can make him okra. We don't eat eggplant. Why would I want to preserve eggplant if neither one of us eats it? Does that make sense? And stuff like that. So you preserve what you will eat and then what you like to eat. And then how would you know how much? If you're gonna plan to preserve enough food for you and your family for a year, how would you know how much to do? Because that was my big question. How would you know how much to do? Yes, but if this is your first year, most of these books, if not all of them, have, it says how much should you can, okay? It's got an example, it says for a family of 4. If the serving size is half a cup of fruits, well then, per person, they say 12, and it goes all the way across here and tells you how many total cans that you would need, how many frozen bags you would need. So that's your starting guide, that's not your hardcore, that's your starting guide. Then after your first year, you take inventory of your stock and you see, did I run out of this one? Or did I run out of this? And you make it yours after that. You less, more, whatever you need. But your starting point, they will give you in your book. And so that's another good reason. I don't know, you probably haven't, because I haven't known about it for a long time. If you don't have farmers markets, or you don't know local people, and you're like, I'm not about to shop local. Then there's places like Azure Standard, and that is the place you can order online. And they go through all of their people that they order from, and they make sure it's organic, they know where it comes from. You know, my honey doesn't come from way off somewhere, you know, I want my organic honey to come from the States. And so you don't have to worry about picking and choosing off the internet trying to find your good organic stuff. That's one place you can go and trust whether it's frozen and whatever. That's a good resource to have. Seasonally, how much? And I've got, be sure when you watch YouTube, some of those people show you these beautiful sprawling gardens, not a bug inside, okay? And I'm talking about they'll take you down to pantry tours, you know, and they've got all these shelves lined. Man, I want a pantry like that. And then you stop and think, the lady that just took you to the pantry tour, she's got 10 kids, right? If you don't have 10 kids, make a big garden. Don't process and preserve a bunch of food that you and your family, if say 4 or 2, are not gonna eat, okay? So that's what I had to get over. I had to get over just regular. Sometimes our kids come and shop at our house, sometimes they don't. But for Greg and I, we don't have to have rows and rows, you know, of stuff to eat, because you only need to prepare enough to last you and your family a year. Now, it will last longer than that, but it starts losing its nutritional value as it sits on the shelf longer than that. And so you want to figure that out so that you get the best you can get out of it. I'm flying through this way too fast, probably. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. Now I'm going to jump into the food. never wanna touch the bottom of the pot. Why? Because it would make a bust. It's too much direct heat. You want the heat low. So it's got holes in it, just sets up just enough to where the heat and stuff can flow all the way around the jar. And so if you put this in here, they can't get too hot on the bottom and shatter. And they will do that. And if you don't have this, if you just got a big pot like this one right here, and, the weight is on this front. This weight is a 10-pound weight. Go back to this. How do you know how long to can and for what pressure? Okay? This book shows you. Every recipe in here tells you. Look at that 12.2. It'll tell you whether you're doing it in quart jars, or pint jars, or half pint jars, and it will tell you how long to can it, say 30, 45 minutes, whatever it is, and at what pressure. So where we live now, the sea level, you live at the sea level, makes a difference. But, mine, and around here, it's like 10, I think, 10 pressure. And I have to babysit this one. This is not a pretty water bath, this is not a pretty pot, but this was Greg's grandmother's. And I love it. And I'm not gonna fight that. But anyway, it locks down so that it can build up pressure, and then you pressure clean your food. That's what this one does. And there are certain foods that have to be pressure cleaned, okay? So you've got meats. You want to pressure clean some roast, or chicken, or I call it seafood, but anyway, veggies, your green beans, your potatoes and carrots. You would use a pressure canner to can those, because they are a high acid food, and they have to have more pressure and more hotter temperature than what that can, okay? So this is for your meats and low acid foods. Now your question so far? Okay. And this is real important. You can't just decide you're going to do your meat or something and you can't do that. Now, a question I've heard is a pressure canner the same as an Instant Pot food canner? It is not. Okay? Your Instant Pot cannot get it as hot as this can. It does not have the pressure. Okay? So it can't be used for pressure cooking, but not pressure canning. Okay? There's a difference there. This is a water bath canner. Same thing. You do not want your jars to touch the bottom, and these come like, I got ones like this big, so I'm taller. So you can buy these in different sizes. So buy these in different sizes. But these come with a jar holder. It says right here, put your jars in it, pull them out, drop them down in there. And these are for acidic foods, like your jellies. Somebody said they like putting jelly? Yeah, for your jellies and jams, for stuff. Yeah. And it's for tomato-based products, like your sauces and your relishes and stuff like that. That's what this is good for. And things that you don't pressure can, right here on pressure canner, dairy, you don't want to put milk in a pressure canner, okay? So if you're gonna make a soup and you want to thicken it with, like a milk base or something, or you want cheese in your soup, like potato soup, you put the cheese and stuff in it after you've canned it, because what it does is it gets it so thick and stuff in the jar that the heat can't get all the way to the center of the jar, and so therefore your food at the center is not getting hot enough, so therefore it will not kill bacteria, okay? So always remember, I thought it was gonna be cool, hey, if you put some hamburger meat, shove it down in that jar and pressure can it, and that would be, hamburger food. And don't do that. You cook your hamburger meat first, you cook your sausage first or whatever, and then you can it. That way, it's not packed in there. It's funny. Pumpkin puree. I mean, you see stuff all the time that pumpkin puree and stuff in the store. Well, if they can can it and put it in the store, why can't I can it? Because in the factories, it gets way hotter. When they put it in those cans, it gets way more hot than these do, and it kills everything. And so these are for home, those are commercialized. And so that's why it says, don't do anything thick like that. Dairy, it goes gross and curls and thickeners you, I have issues with this, but your tomatoes, to me, a tomato is acid, okay? But you need to add either something, when you're cooking something like citric acid, or you can use lemon juice, and it'll tell you that in your recipe in here. You need to add that to your food, that way, it gets the acidity up enough to make it safe to use water back in. Okay? I did some tomatoes last night, and I did, I think it was a tablespoon of lemon juice and a teaspoon of sugar, just to kind of take off the acid on the tomatoes. And so that preserves that. So I just wanna go over some questions on that. You understand the difference? Yes or no, maybe? Okay. All right. Fun things, okay? These are not things. This is not something that you have to go buy if you wanna make shells, okay? You can take a big stock pot like you got in the cottage, take a big stock pot, and you can take a towel and fold a towel and put it in the bottom, or put a plate upside down in there to where the food is not, your jars are not touching the bottom, and you do it the same way. Because all you're doing is heating it up and boiling it. What you use here, it's usually, I'm just gonna say jelly, because I just made some recently, since it's a long time. You only have to have enough water to cover your jars about 1 inch to 2 inches, okay? Do it for rolling boil, for however long your recipe tells you to do it for. So this can be done in a stock pot, does not have to have that. These are not necessary, but they're really fun when you're playing with your big deep jars, okay? You want to stir, if you don't have stuff like this, it's not a big deal, okay? When I started, I didn't have all this stuff, okay? You can use what you've got. But now, something that I will suggest that you get, if you start doing, decide you want to do this, there's a little, I wish I had a jar, it's called a canning set. And it's got this right here in it, which, you know what this is? Yep, you're right. Grab up the jars, and put them in the hot water, take them out of the hot water, and so that's a jar lifter. This right here comes in it, and this tells you, it's got little measurements on here. There's a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch. So when they tell you, leave so much headspace on your jar, and until you get, I get to where I can eyeball it now. Pretty much, I won't put anything up over this right here, even though I could, but you can put this down here, and it will tell you. If it says, leave it 1 inch headspace, well then, you're gonna leave 1 inch headspace. If it says just a 1/4 of an inch, well then you can put your food clear up to here. Because if you put more, if you put it up higher than what it recommends, well then as it's cooking and stuff, it doesn't have room for the pressure in there, and it can pop your lids and bust your jars. This is real important, but you don't have to have it. This is for lifting up your lids. Okay, you got your lids, it's 3 parts to a jar. You need to heat these up so that there's rubber on the inside. You don't have to boil it, it just needs to be warmed up. To where when you get ready to seal, well then it goes on and it's warm, and when it goes in either one of the cookers, well then it locks in and it seals. Okay, you can drag these out with a pair of tongs or something like that, but it's pain. So I suggest getting a little kit that's got those 3 things in it, and it comes on a funnel, there's a funnel too. So you'll need a strainer, does not have to be this big, but when I make tomatoes, apples, whatever you're doing, it's a whole lot more fun to be able to do it in a bigger container instead of 15 little bitty ones. That's just my personal preference. This is something you'll need to have if you're gonna have chili. This sets your jelly. And, just sure jelly, this sets your something, but you gotta follow the, this is fun, but it's exact. If you don't do it exactly like it says to do it, you will not get the product that you want out of it, okay? I just happen to have 3 different sizes of these. You don't do it, okay? Even if it's a smaller one, it doesn't matter. You use what you've got. Now, these are extra little toys that I've accumulated over the years, but I haven't run and show you. Okay? Say we covered canning as far as the water bath and the pressure canner. So now let's talk about stuff that goes in the freezer sometimes. Okay? Now, pasta. A lot of people will take their pasta, their dried beans, rice, oatmeal, anything like that. And if you don't want to leave them in the cardboard containers that they're in, well then you can take them and you can stick them in jars. And
electric ones of those,
This,
the sealer, the
Vacuum sealer.
vacuum sealer?
this one,
And do you have any experience or heard anybody that's actually used the electric one? Or do
the
you always
electric
use the
handheld or
handheld?
the electric big one? Which one? This isn't electric.
The handheld you
No,
use.
the handheld that you just did,
I
the
have
vacuum
not.
seals?
I've seen them, but I've never used one.
Okay,
Because normally what I use, I started out with this, but shortly after that I got this. And this has a hose that comes with it, and you can take that hose and put, after you get this on the drawer, put it right here,
do the same
and
thing?
then turn this on, does the same thing.
Okay,
And it's a whole lot faster. So
Okay.
that's usually what I've got.
so you use it with your bigger jars then? Okay.
Yeah, I use it with any of them. But anyway, it's right here, you open this up, I can do this upside down. This is also a vacuum sealer. So you get the size bag you want. You can buy them already pre-cut. I like to pre-cut them myself. Yes, I do. There we go. You put it in there like this. You put it down here like this. Let's see what all the vacuums. All right, you cut it. You turn it on. You do. You really turn it on. There you go. You turn it on. Nope, it's not turning on. Okay, I need an electrician over here.
You're gonna have to put it in the white outlets instead of the green.
Gotcha. Good job, sis. Thanks, babe.
I just have one like that, and the green ones are only colored.
Yes, we have lights. All right.
Sorry.
You've got two little arrows right here. I know you can't see them where you're at. There's two little arrows right here. It shows you where you put your bag, and you put it in there. It starts its process. It comes down, it heats, and it seals it. I'll stop it because it's not like a vacuum seal, it's just sitting in the end of my bag. We put up, what, 4 bushels? We put up 4 bushels of corn this way this year, in the freezer. And Buddy, this makes short work of it, alright? There we go. Just sit like this, just a little better. There we go. We slide the second end in there. There she goes. Don't do this on a fresh baked loaf of bread, okay? I had the prettiest loaf of bread that I made. I was so proud. I made 3 or 4 of them. I was so pretty. I thought, I'm gonna vacuum seal and put them in the freezer. You see what it did to this box? That's what it did to my loaf of bread. By the time I panicked and went over here and shut it off, my bread was like, oh, I almost cried. It was so pretty. So the trick to that is to freeze your loaf of bread first, then come and do this to it, okay? Because it will do it. This gets all the extra air out. Your food will keep its flavor better, it will keep its color better, and it will last longer in the freezer without getting freezer burn. Because the Ziploc bags are good. I use them in freezers full of them. But I try to do as much on this as I can. My only int with this is if it's wet, strawberries. You wanna do strawberries for the freezer or blueberries, okay? They're wet. And so I know it's got a wet setting on here, it doesn't matter. When you see that juice start creeping up, out of your strawberries and starts creeping up towards where it's gonna seal, you need to shut her off. Because if you don't, it's gonna pull it up, it's gonna accumulate after about 2 or 3 bags. It's gonna accumulate right here and you're gonna have a wet mess. And then this shuts down, which is a safety issue, that shuts down and you gotta clean that out. So I learned this time, when I did my strawberries, that as soon as I see it start creeping up through there, buddy, I shut that thing off. And it goes ahead and it seals good, because that can also bother your seal. Any questions? So you can do dry goods, I mean, you can do this in a bag. I did oatmeal, I bought a 50-pound bag of oatmeal. And I sit there and I dolled out like 2 cups, and then for Greg and I, and each one. And I made little baggies, and I sucked them all up like that, I labeled them, and tossed them in the freezer. They'll be good for well over a year. You know, and so you can do dry goods, use a, obviously didn't bring it because it's not 200 pounds. Did you have a freeze dryer? Freeze drying out there? Okay, all your freeze dried stuff, you can put in jars and vacuum seal it. Okay? You can put it in the bags, but all it is you're gonna shelf in a jar. And so that's two different ways. You can buy by hand, and it works just fine. You can get you one of these later on, if you want to. I think I've got two of them, because I'm trying to wear this one out. So that covers the vacuum sealing. You can just peel potatoes, it's okay. You really is. This is the coolest thing. Okay, this is your normal, apple potato peeler, okay? Until I discovered this. See if I can get it real quick. I just sit and I just have so much fun peeling potatoes. You squish that in there. Let mom know hands. Now you don't have to have this. You can still use a knife or a potato. But this is so much fun. The top, I just take off and use a knife. Or a potato peel, but it has just a minute. See how fast that was? If we were having a peel, we got potatoes. I mean, what was it? Last year or the year after that? Or year before that? I canned like 94 quarts of potatoes. Okay? We got a 50-pound sack of potatoes. What was the thing? But anyway, I don't have to buy potatoes for a long time. But this little jewel right here, buddy, it made it quick and easy. If you want, there's different blades you can put on there. I don't play with it because that's all I've done. But there's a blade that you can put on here, and you can make spiral potatoes that cuts all the way through. So you can have spiral potatoes or spiral zucchini noodles or whatever. But I just had to bring that to show y'all because it's so much fun. You can do apples on it, but it's not as easy as a potato because they're like wobbly sized. And then when you get your potato, you think, well, I need to chop it up, and I want to cube my potato. All right, you can sit there with your chopping board, just like we've done it all these years. Or you can, if you've got something like this, see if I can make this work. Oh, sorry. Poor thing. You get you one of these, and then you get tired of messing with it, and you get you a knife and do it like you used to do. Anyway, my potato's too long is what the issue is. But you can take that and you can go, I got a knife, I might as well be able to spook it. Give me a big knife. These girls need to show how fast this is. I like to make potatoes. This is the fun of life. It's in there. Scripted. Anyway, I like to make potato salad. So you take this and you're boiling your eggs over here for your potato salad. And you can have your potatoes peeled and you can have your, thank you. You're awesome.
I am.
All right. I really want to show you this. It's so cool. I don't know how this is. So there we go. We're gonna try this again.
Oh, yeah.
Just to eat feelings for y'all. All right, you got this. You got this. You got that. Okay.
I thought it broke.
No. Those will be taters.
I have one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, did it.
So this little thing right here is, you don't have to have it, but it's got a little bitty dicer slicer. It's got this one that makes it a little bit bigger. And then it's got this one that makes toothpicks, or whatever you want to call it, makes them longer and skinny. So that's the fun of having this. You do not have to have it. Don't go home thinking, I've got to have all that stuff to do this. You do not. This is just extra toys that makes it fun. Faster, not faster. This right here is a French fry cup. Pull it back, put your tater in there.
That's cool.
Little Miss-
Here's another potato.
those help with the puree and chopping and stuff. And this is a marvelous tool.
Give a little warning with that one.
This one will slash your finger off, okay? Please, because, you know, yeah, be careful. This, can you imagine if you want French fries or you want to make chips out of this? If you want to I cut my squash, go in the freezer with this, and it does thicker and thinner stuff. I did sweet potato fries the other day, so I want to slice it like this, and you just adjust it here on the bottom. It's got how thick you want it. I've done tomatoes. It's great, you know, you want hamburger tomatoes, and you want them all cut the same shape. It's just fun. But this is my favorite because I put zucchinis. What else was it, Greg? Zucchinis and something else in the freezer. But that's just another tool to make it way faster. And then you're not supposed to use that. You're supposed to use this. But, you know. And then that gives you going to where you don't get your finger in the way. So that is how that works. It is fun, let me tell you. This right here is a grater. I just use I've got a different grater, but this is like a cheese grater or something like that. You can slice it, it catches it for you. So you've got different grades here that come in the kit. Depending on how small or large you want to grate your cheese or your lemon zest or your lime zest, garlic, and anything else that you would want to grate or do like that. And this is just a cute little, you don't have, like I said, you don't have to have this stuff, you know what I'm saying? You just take your grater, you know, but this is just tools of the trade. This is an immersion blender. I love immersion blenders, okay? Yes, don't get your fingers in your way. These are good when you have, I'm gonna say tomatoes, did tomatoes the other day, and you don't want them liquefied, but you want them more than just chopped with your knife, okay? Or chopped with little tools. So, let me take this, scrape smooth things, and you've got come in. Kind of electrical chopped. And that little baby, it'll go in there, and it'll chop the tomatoes, or the potatoes for potato soup, or a smoothie. It's marvelous. It's hot, and I love to whisk. And I really like it. I love to cook, I love to preserve. And so these tools just make me happy. They make my job easier. Especially this one. Any questions? No questions. Do you have to have all this?
No.
No. Okay. No questions. All right.
I have a question. Since you canned meat,
Yes.
what does it do to the texture of the meat? Because pasta makes it mushy, bread makes it mushy, different things. What's it do to the meat?
The meat, what's the word I'm looking for? You want a stew meat, like if you want to cut it for stew, like roast or stew meat,
Yeah.
you cut it into cubes, and, I would raw pack it. You can raw pack or you can cook it and put it in there either one. But I would raw pack it, that way you're only cooking it one time. That way it's not too soft and feel like powdered meat when you get through with it.
Okay.
It'll hold its consistency better. I made the mistake starting out, cooking some taco meat and canning it, and I thought, well, that'd be great, come in, heat it up, we've got tacos in a few minutes, I get off work. Well, I cooked my hamburger meat because it's got to be loose in there, and then I pressure canned it for the whole 40 minutes. You can imagine what that hamburger meat is like.
You were drinking.
Pressure canned, just about.
Okay.
I said, Greg, that's a nasty stuff. I said, how do people can meat? And it just dawned on me, I'm double cooking. Because you raw pack your chicken, raw pack, you know, your chicken cubed and your meat, your deer, your beef, whatever. And it's just cooking one time.
Okay.
And then, and
I misunderstood you earlier, because I thought you said that they needed to cook it first and then do it, so then I was thinking, what on earth that's gonna do the texture?
And
Okay.
pasta, I didn't cover much on freezing. Pasta, I have tried it. And you can cook the pasta and leftover pasta, you can put in a container, it can go in the freezer, and it'll freeze. And you can reheat it. Not, it doesn't freeze like, I wouldn't do it more like a month or something. But if you have, you know, you still on camp, something you still do, you can have leftover days, and you clean out the refrigerator and have that for dinner. Clean out your freezer. There's times I'll go, I'll pull stuff out of my freezer that I preserved, a little piece of spaghetti and meatballs, and just set me up, and you can do that. But yeah.
You also freeze dry it.
Yeah, well, I covered freeze drying, and I told them, I said, I didn't bring my freeze dryer, at least in that house. But, yeah,
How often do you use your freeze dryer?
Yeah.
We're weighing the decision to think
I'm the
about,
wrong person to ask.
What is it?
okay, the freeze dryer.
How often do I use my freeze dryer?
Let's ask that question in the round
Oh, the
table.
round table, okay.
When we do the round table, remember that and ask that question, we'll be able to answer it better then.
I like that.
Anything else? Okay, Amy, I guess we're off to you.
Do what now?
We're off to you. We're done with,
Oh.
we're done with introduction to
An
administration.
hour, ma'am?
She's done.